Zero. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be in the vastness of the galaxy, space, the universe, the solar system, wherever you're located. My name is Rock and Larry Locken with Pleiadian Express Productions. That's Pleiadian Express Productions. Yeah, I have my own twist on that. I'm here today with a fellow admin of mine and a good friend of mine, Jason Wilson. We're going to talk a little bit more about what it's like to be an admin in the group, the largest Pleiadian group in the history of Facebook, Leah Shapiro's Pleiadians group. I had a chance to do a show the other night with Jane Hermstad, and because of some commitments on Mother's Day, Jason couldn't make it in. So I wanted to have Jason in to kind of give his take on what he notices and what he looks at to approve posts, and just kind of some of his observations when it comes to that. So I could rattle on for 5 years and a decade or 1,000 million years, but Jay, Will, how you doing, man?
I'm doing really great, Larry, and it's great to be back on the show with you once again. And peace to everyone out there. Love and light to all. Namaste.
Well, cool. So, as you know, Jane and I did a little show the other night talking about this subject, and I know that we talk in privately a lot, amongst us admins about some of the things that we observe, some of the things that we kind of dissuade from posting or having people post. And I kind of just wanted to get your take on some things. I know that we were talking in the pre-interview about maybe some things that you've had to delete or a lot of the things that I've deleted, and then you may get a response back like, well, why are you trying to suppress the truth? Don't you want the truth from getting out there? Well, that's not the point. We're trying to we're trying to stick at a high vibration here, okay? It's like, we all know this as admins. We were probably through of it before they knew of it, and we know that these things are going on in the world, but we also see the bigger picture and the illusion behind it, and we know, hey, wake us up when the planet's blowing up and give us a sob story. And I'm not even, and bro, I'm not even trying to belittle the fact that things are going on in the world, but I mean, come on, I mean, people want to talk all this stuff, and it's like, okay, I live in the United States, the land of bilk and funny, where your average American kid now is getting 1.5 to 2 meals a day. So I mean, I know, cry me a river, but the thing is this is going on everywhere. And Jason, I have been dying, man, to get you on here and to ask you your take on some of the things that you see, and I know that you'll give it from a loving perspective and completely, but at the same time spit the truth. So, I guess I just kind of wanted to get your take and your flow on what you look for when you're approving a post, what you look for when you're approving somebody to get on to the group. If you could kind of just give us an idea to start with, and we'll go from there, man.
Well, I mean, first of all, the Honorable Leah Shapiro has, in her foresight, created this really excellent site, and you yourself have had excellent stewardship of it, as has Jane and Kathleen, and then also Sierra, who's come on board. And it's a huge honor and blessing. To tell you the truth, I mean, I just beam from ear to ear and have a huge smile on my face every time I see a notification that someone wants to be added to the group. And in all honesty, I mean, I would hope that people would respect the fact that there are about 5 of us and 23,000. We're at 23,000 now, correct?
Yeah, we're actually, last I checked, we were like a couple people short of 23,600. So it's matriculating by the day, but yeah, I think people get the picture.
Okay, so then also we have lives. We like to sleep. We need to go out
Yeah.
and do the things that we need to do. And so I think that this place is an oasis, and it's an oasis where people can go and be refreshed. When you're in the desert and your throat is parched, there's nothing more than you look forward to than an oasis, a place where you can quench your thirst and cool that dryness. And by that I mean it as an allegory to just the rat race that a lot of us face in some of the bigger cities, or just the challenges of day-to-day life and running a family and relationships and financial issues and so forth. To come there to be able to connect with star seeds, fellow star seeds, light workers and light beings, and people that want to resonate on a very high vibration and frequency of love and patience and understanding. And we're really not about trying to brinkmanship and one up other people and debates and ego and these kind of things. This is really not what we're about. And I think that once again, the Honorable Leah Shapiro has put some very simple guidelines for people. And yeah, if you wanted to comment on that, because it has some more to say as well.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And she's been very specific in what she's had to say, and much love to her for that. And I would just encourage people, like Jane and I were speaking of on the last show, to read the rules of the group. Read Leah's pinned post. I see that it only has, I don't know, 300 to 400 likes on it when there's 23,000 members of the group. And I would just really appreciate it if people would just take a look at that and keep that in mind. And if you have some questions or concerns, ask an admin. I mean, if you think that we're trying to hide things, or if you think that we're trying to do this or that, well, before you go ahead and make that decision in your mind, which is fine, that's okay. I mean, ask somebody, and ask why we think the way we do and why we want to keep the vibration as high as we want to keep it. And, at least hear us out before just assuming that we don't want to talk about Russia blowing up China, or the U.S. blowing up Russia, or the U.S. blowing up Hawaii, or whatever the case may be. I mean, and I'm being honest. It's like, people, please understand. Okay, we care, we love, but we're tired of focusing on the hate parade and the war machine. Okay, we just don't need it anymore.
That's absolutely. That's an excellent way of putting it. We don't want to focus on those things. We know they're out there. We're not oblivious to it. We're not asking anyone to, live in la la land. But we stay grounded by focusing on the positive and the light and love and resonating at those frequencies. And I did a post a few days ago where I was trying to liken the situation to, imagine would anyone appreciate it if someone came into your house and told you, you're going to watch this station and you're going to watch this television station, and let's just pick a channel. How about the station that just goes,
oh, I love it. Or how about
yeah, it's one of my favorites. Let's get the popcorn out, right?
Yeah.
And so how would you like that if someone dictated that to you? Or even conversely, you were actually trying to watch a particular channel and someone wanted to come along and just change that. Or even if you were in your car and listening to a certain radio station and, a passenger or another person just came along and just, well, I want to change this frequency. Well, I think most of us would say that impinges upon us and impinges upon, what we like to listen to or watch, and we would really find that an infringement, and we would also find that very, very tasteless and very rude. And so the one thing is, and I also admitted there may have been some in hindsight, us as admins, because we want people to be able to connect with others and to feel this frequency of love and light. We sometimes, maybe in haste, we might be adding people, but I also would like to say to those who are part of the group, when you do add people, you might want to ask, could I have your permission? Because otherwise, if we just add everyone, you see, like for me, I might actually even feel that I have a bit of a right. If you add me to a group without asking me, then I might even feel that I have a right to be a little bit snarky or crass or rude, and I'll be like, well, I didn't ask to be here in the first place, right? But I think that when you are invited, or when you knock on the door and you ask to come in, and then you do so voluntarily, then I think people feel more. I don't want to use the word compelled, but more willing to go along with these rules and regulations, because they're like, yeah, I'm doing this willingly of my own accord, of my own volition. No one is forcing me to do so. So
Right.
we try to avoid that. And so this is what we're saying. There's tons of forums on the internet. There's tons of Facebook groups that talk about hating Republicans or Democrats, or all of the different political things going on in the world, and all of the negative, or the extraterrestrials are demonic and stuff. We're completely aware of that, and people are intelligent. They've got search engines. They can go on there and type up whatever comes to their mind. That I'm thinking about this at this moment, I want to know, and then bam, there's the search engine with so many different things for them. And if we all believe, let's take, for example, traditional religious perspective, because some of them are usually people who are like, aliens are all of a bad influence.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
if the Lord is going to guide everyone, then the Lord is going to guide them to the truth. So it's not a matter of us. It's not our job or our ability to be posting everybody's particular view out there, because that's just not what we do. Um, just like people who have a forum on vegetarianism, they're not going to give a platform discussing the merits of eating meat, because that's not what they do. That's not their platform. So we have to respect that. If someone else wants to have a platform in which they discuss something else, then that's fine for them to do that on their own time, their own initiative. So this is what the Honorable Leah wants us to do, is to discuss things in relationship to the Pleiadians, and things that are just generally loving in nature, that make people feel good about being alive and loving life, because this planet indeed is worth dying for, but more importantly than that, it's worth living for, and it's worth living right for. And this is what we do and try to encourage each other. And there are people who are going through drama and going through challenging things. So we're not completely saying we shut off the drama, no. But we're saying if you've got some personal issues, let's come and discuss this and see how we can surround each other with vibrations of love and lifting people up. That's what we're here to
That
do. We're not here to put people down. We're here to lift them up. And
exactly. Because remember, us Pleiadians, we've had our share in our, trillion-year history. We've had our share of drama ourselves. I think we actually created drama in a way. And the thing is we understand this, and it's like I love your point about the vegetarian, a vegetarian group, where maybe, the thing wouldn't be to do is go in there and start talking about why meat is great and meat is good. It's not that they're trying to shut you out. It's that, okay, well, what is your agenda by going in there to a group like that in saying, okay, well, I like meat for this reason, that reason, and this reason. Well, you got to think about, well, what is your agenda by going in there and doing that? Are you trying to provoke an argument? If you weren't, and just trying, if you were just going in there to try to give your opinion, you would go in there and say, give your opinion, but say, I respect yours. But you wouldn't go in there and say, well, it's all about the attitude. It's really never much about what they say, but it's how they say it. You know what I mean?
Exactly, and sometimes these people, you have to think about it. They come off as sounding very confident. Everything is going great in my life. I've got a great job. I've got a great family. I've got a great place to live. I'm quote unquote successful in life. And look at you, and how sad and pathetic is that you would come online and talk about these entities that we have no proof and evidence for, and then I guess that makes you wonder, well, why are you spending this time of your really great life coming in here and focusing on that if everything is really so great, and
Yeah.
you got all your ducks in a row? And I'm sure you recall, like a month ago, where we won't mention the gentleman's name, and we're hoping that he is in the best of health and in the best of condition and the best of spirit. Is he was actually a bit pugnacious at first, but we just kept coming at him with the love and the light and the love and the light. And what happened? He started breaking down and telling us some really traumatic things about heroin addiction and so forth. And this is what happens. Sometimes people have this wall and this barrier, and that just needs to be breaking down with love and light, and knowing that they're going to be accepted, and there's nothing about your past or whoever you are, what you've done, in which you're not going to be accepted in the circle of love and light. And it's just not necessary to put up any fronts, and it's not necessary to try to tear other people down and hurt them.
No, exactly. And we're not here to sucker you in. We're not here to get you to join a cult or pay your union dues or anything like that. Exactly. We're not here to be judgmental, because we don't. Most of us, I know that I would have to say that all the admins in the group at least are at that level now, where judgment is pretty much all the way left us. I mean, at the same time, we're all knowing, and we get that. We know the innate possibilities because maybe we've been there before, or we've had family members or loved ones there before, but there's no judgment like, oh my God, I don't know, you had a heroin addiction 5 years ago. Oh my God, you're the worst. How could I ever even validate anything you say? It's not like that. And I think that some people are so used to being treated that way their whole life, that maybe they don't know how to accept it when somebody really loves them and doesn't really give two shits about the fact that they did have a heroin addiction or whatever. We're just concerned about the here and now and how they're doing now, you know?
Yeah, there are these things that are called memes, which become like these phrases or expressions or quotes that become dominant in popular culture, and some of them can be quite poisonous to the mind if you start, saying this over and over. Like, for example, there are men and women out there who, when finding a partner, if the guy is just like too nice or the woman is too nice, what do they say? It's too good to be true. you
Oh
know
yeah,
what what kind of saying is that? That's like just telling you that nothing can be good because that's not possible. It becomes an axiom. It becomes the saying, and that's pretty sad. And then you also have, for example, people trying to actually reassure you by saying, well, you should be thankful because at least you're not suffering like this other person. And
yeah,
I've always didn't like that, because it's basically like saying, take assurance that you know that someone else is suffering more than you. You
yeah. Oh
know.
yeah, like that's supposed to help. Oh well, gee, great. Somebody's got. Yeah, well, hey, well, that's great. Gee, exactly. You hear that and you're like, even when you believe it and understand that, you're like, well, gee, thanks for the pep talk. You know,
Yeah, exactly. I've got only one leg. Well, that, hey, just be thankful because there's that guy, out there with, with no legs, right? And that's supposed to somehow, cheer you up and make you feel better. Of course, you put everything in perspective, but it's just the way that the thing is explained or said
yeah,
to us. And some of these things can, I think they're not really good to be, repeating in our mind and in pop culture. And getting back on track with this, what we're trying to do as admins, and there are some shades of gray in any situation, that's for sure. Like the Honorable Leah asked us to watch out for posts that are overtly religious in nature. Now, my interpretation of overtly religious would be any group, Christian, Hindu, Islamic, Buddhist, coming on and being like, hey, everyone, it's our way and only our way. And if you're not into this, you guys are lost souls, come back. But for example, you have plenty of things that are religiously themed from Buddhism and the Christian tradition and Hinduism in there that's not overtly religious, in the sense that it's something that's universal, that I personally feel when I look at it that everyone can resonate with that. Like, let's say that it was a Hindu saying from one of the yogis, treat your mother with love and respect. I mean, who couldn't resonate with that? It's
yeah. Or
not
do
telling you.
yeah, or do unto others,
Yeah.
and these things resonate with each of the spiritual icons of each of these groups you mentioned, of each of these religious groups, whether it's the Buddha, whether it's Jesus, whether it's the Dalai Lama, whether it's Allah. I mean, with the pure loving essence is all the same. And when it's like that, yeah, I think it's completely okay. But when it's okay, well, Allah sucks, Jesus rules, Allah sucks. I mean, when it's things like that, then you start raising a red flag.
Yeah, because that's just going to create, drama and negativity and conflict, which is something, this is not what we're looking for. We're not looking for that at all. And
No,
even recently,
we've
I
been down that road. Yeah.
I did this post a few days ago just about where the His Excellency the Pope had made a statement that if we came in contact with extraterrestrials, with aliens, we would be willing to baptize them. And I posted that in there just because I thought it was curious and interesting that he would make such a statement, because I saw that as him prepping at least his congregation, at least his people, his followers, that this could be a reality. And he may even said it in a way that seemed kind of passe, or that he was just joking, but I think that there was some meaning to that. But when you post something like that, you might have that intentions, and then all of a sudden, here come the comments where people do have some kind of personal feelings towards the Catholic Church, and for them being in the news for different reasons, and they take that opportunity to direct that angst and then spell that out on there, and then other people who may be of that persuasion are like, well, hey, wait a minute, that's my faith, and I'm not appreciating you doing that. And that can get really out of hand, and we need to be very careful not to do that, and to show that respect to one another. And then this guy was posting videos on there about aliens and demons. This is fear
Mhm.
based, and we're not here to talk about fear based things. So he's like, why are you suppressing information? And I also put a comment on there saying anyone who is interested in messaging the guy personally and having him give you the link, you're more than welcome. But these are the guidelines. These are not my rules or guidelines. These are things that were put down by the Honorable Leah Shapiro, and we're just seeing them
Yes.
through as you would any forum or any group on any particular subject you can imagine that would have its own guidelines. So I eventually just took that post down that I put up all together and put it on my own personal Facebook page because I just didn't want to have anything on there that's going to create drama and conflict, because that's not what we're here for, and people don't want to see that. At least people who are resonating on this frequency with us, they're really wanting to get beyond that. We're really wanting to evolve beyond all of this stuff. So for those people, everyone, we would honestly like for I know I'm speaking for Leah and Larry and Jane and Kathleen and Sierra, everybody, and we underscore that everyone to come and chill and just have a great time meeting new people, connecting with people, learning new things, sharing information, having this wonderful exchange of love and light. But at the same time, if you feel that that's not your frequency and you're not on that frequency with us, and that's something that doesn't resonate with you, you don't have to be there. We just ask you, don't ruin the fun for others. And I think
Uh,
that's yes.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is too, is Jason, as you well know, they wouldn't even have to message that guy. They could type that in 2 seconds and get a million hits on anything they ever wanted to know about that negativity quicker than you and I could say hi. I mean, so it's not like we're oblivious to it. I mean, we know all this, we realize it, and it's not like we're in denial. Okay, I mean, yeah, it's there. I mean, I grew up watching, and I'm sure you did too, because you're a little bit older than me. You grew up watching this bullshit on the news, the Cold War, this, that, the illusion. I mean, we get all that. Okay, what are you going to tell us? I mean, tell me something I've never heard before. Tell me the planet just blew up and I'm the only one left here and it's Mad Max. I mean, but I'm not trying to joke about it, but I'm just saying that, uh, us admins have seen as much, if not more, about of this crap than anybody who's going to post it. I mean, give me something new and something really valid, and we will approve it to be posted. I mean, really, if it's something really valid, even if it does rattle some feathers, if it's something we need to know, we will. It's not that we're trying to avoid anything, but man, we just can't have the same old hate parade going on over and over and over again like a bad episode of Hee Haw. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and I think that we can have, and we have shown that we do have different perspectives on things, within our community, within our collective, and it's a matter of keep it a discussion. It doesn't need to become a debate, and sarcastic remarks towards fellow members, this is hurtful, and it's really, anytime you encounter sarcasm is just a person or an individual who is completely unable, they're not able, I should say, to give uh, clarity and thought to their expressions and engage with the person in a meaningful way. That's exactly what you're saying about yourself when you display sarcastic remarks towards someone. You can put your position out there or your view on something, in a way that is understanding, because that's what we want. Infinite understanding is to try to understand a person's situation within their given context. That's what it is, not to make judgment calls and say, well, and then you're bad and you're vile and you're evil, and then to put other people down. We don't want to do that. So again, if that's something you feel you can't handle, there's so much out there that would probably, be right up your alley.
A lot, like the majority of places they could go would be like that. I mean, definitely, yeah. We're the ones here that are in limbo here. I mean, we yeah. Show us more like us. I mean, there's a million places they could go. Yeah, I mean, and that's not being sarcastic. Well, it is in a funny Pleiadian humor way, because sarcasm is a Pleiadian trait, but it's loving and understanding. It's not mocking. But the truth of the matter is, yeah, there is. Jason, I think I, probably would lose count on how many other groups there are you could go to and talk about that kind of thing, and which is fine, which, is for their growth pattern. That's okay, I guess.
Yeah, and I think, like they say, search judgment from your own heart. You don't even really have to hear it from us. Look within your own heart whenever you say something to someone else and say, is this something I'd really like someone to say to me? And look into your own heart and say, am I really saying this with an energy of love? Am I really saying this with an energy of I'm wanting to reach out? Or are you saying this with an energy of I have an intention to hurt? Are you saying this with an energy that instead of bringing people closer, pushes people further away? That is something that each and every one of the listeners has to be able to decide for themselves when engaging with one another.
And isn't it amazing what you just said? If everybody would just keep that one thing in mind. I mean, think about this. If in a perfect world, if everybody would just keep that one thing in mind, what you just said, how great it would be. I mean, just got honest with themselves and kept that one thing in mind. It would really do wonders.
Yeah, and it's just that the people would do well. I mean, because on this particular page, and it has at the top, like you were mentioning earlier, um, we've got about 500 people who've click like on that. I think maybe clicking like on that, the post at the top of the page that the Honorable Leah has put up there, that just clicking like on there is not so much like, like, yay, like this is, I really like this, but it's an acknowledgement is the way that I would look at it. It's an acknowledgement that I read that, and that I resonate with it, and that, yeah, this makes sense to me, and these are guidelines and principles that I think are really good to having a harmonious forum, or having a harmonious page in which love and light and mutual understanding and respect can prevail. So that's what I look at it as.
Yeah, I do too, and I would hope that more people do. Although, my 3D self, my 3D Larry, is still skeptical of a lot of that number you just mentioned that hit like, of doing it for that reason. But it's like, Jason, if I get added to a group, okay, I'm pretty passive as far as that goes. And if I don't like the group, I won't delete it, but I won't ever go there and post. But if I'm going to get active and post in that group, I will read their rules and read their description, and if I resonate with it, I will hit like, and if I don't, I just won't post there. But that the thing is yeah, it's about a respect for them and knowing where you're at when you say what you say or do what you do. There's a time, and a place for everything. There's a time for love, and there's a time for letting it be, and there's a time, for saying what you would say. I mean, there's things I would say in some groups that I would never dream of saying in Leah's group, out of respect, because it's her group. And just, it's not even,
Yes.
what, not to sound arrogant, but it's not even just out of respect, man. It's just out of, because I know how to try to have some couth, and I know that I wouldn't go into the very vegetarian group of North America, if there was such a thing, and start talking about my Texas cattle ranch or whatever, if I had one, or you know what I mean.
Yes.
It's about having that respect and couth.
It's being, like there's a scriptural, there's a time for everything, right? So a time for every season under heaven. So it's about having, being tasteful and being tactful. You it's expected in any situation. A teacher is teaching a class or giving a lecture. It requires people to be quiet at that time. The teacher is required to deliver information in a way in which the students can perceive and understand. So that's the mutual respect and understanding. When you go into certain restaurants that may have clothing requirements, or you go for a resume, or you go for a wedding, or you go for a funeral, and this will of course differ from culture to culture, but ultimately there are understanding of what are the what is the culture, what are the norms and the values that they have there, and just to be respectful of that. And again, no one is holding anybody captive, within those within that Facebook page. So if someone comes along and looks at this and says, "Well, you know, I don't resonate with this. This is ridiculous. I'd much rather be doing something else." Okay, fine.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the Hotel California. I mean, we're not forcing you to be there. You don't have to. I almost envision a skit or a funny skit where somebody would keep posting and going, "Why am I forced to be here? Why am I forced to be in this group? Somebody get me out of here." Yeah, you just have to remove yourself from the group, and you can do that really easily. Or if you don't know how, ask to. And believe me, we're not going to try to get you to join our cult and beat a tambourine and ask for donations at the airport or anything. You know, yeah, it's just mind blowing because I know because believe me, I know all the stereotypes too, and I know all the bullshit when I see it too, and I agree. And it's not. This is the real deal. All the joking scenarios people ever make about cults and this and that and the New Age movement and everything and the light and the love and all that. I mean, we really. It's hard for us Pleiadians, as you well know, because we're really the truthers that believe in that and follow that. And believe me, how do you think we feel out there, people? We have been mocked. Everything that goes against us mocks us because we really are that. We really embody that. We don't, and we don't embody the negative undertones that come with it either. I think, even James Gillen and the great Drunvalo Melchizedek have talked about, their biggest fear and the thing that they hate the most is people that, well, they don't hate, that's a strong word, but the thing that hurts them is people that want to try to worship them as a cult leader or to just get hung up on them instead of their message. And it's a hard one. It's a tough situation at times, and I could see where it would be.
Yeah, and you may not like the messenger, but you may resonate with the message. I mean, I'm sure that there are people out there who don't resonate with my personality, and that's fine, and vice versa. There are some people in the group that I don't resonate with them, but I don't want to abuse any privileges and be like, you know what, I don't like this person or what they're saying. I'm just going to delete them. I think that being an admin or being in any position like that, you have to be responsible and see above that. Just like when the gentleman was posting the link, and he kept posting the link. I didn't get upset and say, you know what, there we go, one click of the button, delete him out of the group. No, what I did was say, okay, how can we work around this? And all right, obviously he feels very strong about what he has to say, feels we're suppressing things. Yeah, I'm trying to get him to understand these are the rules here. You cannot be posting this. So what's a neutral position here? Put the message out there and say, if you really want to see what this guy has to say, message him personally, have him send you the link. And that still was not enough. So what I did was, as I mentioned, just took that post down completely, but I did not delete that person. As well as when I think a few days ago, this lady was putting a picture up of the alternative conceptual idea of what Jesus may have looked like. And there was some interesting comments, but then also it gets a bit, where when you go through that thread where people are being a bit sarcastic, and it's just, again, it's not necessary. And I just reminded them, look, we can do better when we have conversations with one another. And a person responded, I don't, it's not necessary. I don't want to hear any of your hippie bullshit. Now, there's a lot of people that would hear something like that and be like, you know what? Go over there, click, you're gone. But again, I don't do that, and I'm like, sir, I'm sure that you could, engage that person in a way that also is, does you honor and them, and you might be able to win that person over to your particular ideological worldview just from the way that you speak to them, rather than coming across as really crass and caustic. It's not necessary.
You'd be surprised in what could happen, like you're saying, when you're humble. You don't give up 5 seconds or 5 minutes before the miracle happens. Exactly, because I've been on that other side of it too, and it's like I hold people just as much accountable that would just, okay, well, somebody comes up with a comment like that, oh, it's just a bunch of hippy dippy talk, and then somebody just delete them for no reason out of the blue. Okay, well, forget about that, the fool that's posting that, but think about the mindset of somebody that just deletes it without having anything to do with it. Okay, well, maybe they're all knowing and just know better. Okay, or maybe they're insecure about themselves. So I agree with that. The last thing we want to do is have to delete somebody from the group. It's the last thing we want to do, and I've even felt angst over it on the few people I've had do, and and I know that it's hard for people to understand that, but yeah, I mean, who the hell, who wants to have to do that,
Yeah, I think that that's what I was saying, that if as people who are admins, and then just in general, just even take admins out of the picture for a moment, as people who are Pleiadian star seeds and light workers and people who are working with angelic entities, if we're going to let things like this on the medium of social networks, Facebook and so forth, really impact and affect us, then I'm sorry. You're really going to need to spend some time um, in pensive reflection and meditation and going deeper within yourself, because if you're not going to be able to take that kind of energy that comes at you, that negative energy, and transmute it into something positive, or at the very least deflect it without letting it affect you, then it's going to be a huge challenge, in your workplace, and dealing with family, and when you're going out there in the 3D world and dealing with those things, because again, this place is an oasis. It's a place for you to speak to other people. In particular, it's called, it's the Pleiadian page, and this Pleiadian page is in particular for those people who are the awakened star seeds, light workers, to connect and resonate with one another, a place for you to get recharged. People are sending all kinds of really excellent links, YouTube videos, seminars, books, and surrounding people with love, light, and information, that you can take that as a lead and look into that and say, yeah, this really is working for me, or no, maybe it's not working for me, and that's fine. That's really what we're wanting to do. And then from there, come up with a lot of different great ideas, like this idea of the Pleiadian Woodstock, or
Yeah.
having the Light Grid project, or as Jane Hermstead had mentioned to us about the New Earth project, which I looked into, which is fantastic. All of these different things that you may have never known about, that's out there because we're coming together and sharing this knowledge and information.
Exactly. And by the way, Jane's going to kick my butt. I haven't checked into that yet. I know you suck up. No, no, but really, really, it's a good idea to stay well rounded, and think about this too, Jason. I mean, maybe you find two or three things from each of those that you resonate with, and maybe you don't resonate with the rest. I mean, just because, okay, well, so Hitler made the statement that he believed in free health care for everybody. Okay, well, I believe in that, but it sure as hell doesn't mean I believed in necessarily anything, not to go into him, but anything else or any of his other philosophies. But I'm not going to stop believing in free health care and taking care of children because he made the comment, but that doesn't mean at the same time I would go jump off the bridge and because he said to as well. It's about what I'm hearing in the message, and because I realize that we're all just humans, we're all just beings, wherever we incarnate from, what we're doing here, whatever, we're all just beings. And if you say a couple things I like, fine. You tell me to go blow my head off, I'm not going to do it. I mean,
Truth belongs to the people. Wherever you find truth, claim it. Any book you read, you can find something and it's truthful. Truth is truth. And if the next page it says something, the next page says 7 plus 3 equals 15, well, that doesn't resonate with your mind and your heart. But the next page is like 5 plus 5 equals 10. Then there you go. Truth is truth, no matter where it is. It belongs to you. Truth is yours to claim and to to accept and to share, with
we're
one
trying to
another.
simplify it. Yeah, exactly. And that doesn't mean either, like what you're saying, exactly, 5 plus 5 is 10 on one page, 7 plus 3 is 15. That doesn't mean you get into this big scenario in your mind like, well, what is the real deception here? It's a big deception. What are they trying to deceive us on? Well, okay, well, maybe they are. But the thing about it is okay, you can look for little clues even in deception. Even in the most deceptive documents you could ever find, you can look for little clues of truth in. And it doesn't mean you get hung up on, well, but that means this or this means that. Well, take it sentence for sentence and now moment by now moment and see what resonates with you and take it from there. It doesn't mean that, okay, I mean, it's just crazy sometimes. I mean, we overthink it sometimes and the answer's right there in front of us.
I think too that I mean, while on that train of thought, that there probably should be some more discussion on actually what is transparency, what is deception,
Mm-hmm.
and these things, and is it necessary, like for example in the right, very popular in the movies these days, and then amongst the Nordic deities you had the deity Loki, who was a trickster god, but interestingly enough is somehow, some ways, or somehow he would trick you into doing things that would actually make you a more conscious person or a better person, and so forth. Or like um, parents, there are parents who will take, and for those parents out there who are trying to get their kids to maybe take more fruits and vegetables, I read about this lady who takes fruits and vegetables, puts them in a blender, and then she'll put them in ice cube trays with some toothpicks, and then they think that they're taking some kind of sweet ice cream. So that was a way for her, quote unquote, to trick the children to
Mhm.
take more vitamins and minerals into their body. Uh, when you look up at the sky, it looks like it's blue. But you and I could take a ladder and continue to climb up. There's no point in which it becomes blue because this is a reflection from the oceans, and
Yes.
so it gives an illusion. Like if we say, "Is it true that the sky is blue?" Well, what do you mean by that? So you could get a little bit more deeper into that. Or is it true that it looks like there's water over there on the pavement on a hot sunny day? Or is it just given an illusion that there's water and we get there and it's not? Hence the term mirage. So you could give another scenario to people who are listening. Um, if you and I were let's say in not bringing up Hitler again, Nazi Germany, in the late 30s, and people were knocking on our house and saying, do you have people of this group or that group, and if they were hiding in our basement, would we tell them, oh yeah, well they're right down in the basement, just go down there and grab them and kill them? No, at that moment we would tell those people, no, we don't have them here. We'll let you know if we find them. We would tell basically a bold-faced lie because telling the truth is not necessarily the best thing you can do in any situation. The best thing you can do in any situation is the best thing you can do in any situation. And in that
Yeah,
particular situation, the best thing you can do is not being truthful with authorities that want to come and harm other people. So a lot of these things, we could get, deeper into that, but it's just food for thought for people to reflect upon.
it is. Oh yeah, I'd be like, oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah, Jason's down in the basement. He's counting the money. Yeah, I mean exactly. It's like and it just goes to show you that every situation is new, and
Yeah.
it's about doing the right thing in the situation, not about oh well, be honest. Be honest with who? Be honest with what? For why? For how? I mean, there's a million different things to go into it, yet it's so simple. I mean, exactly. Nobody would sit there and go, oh, well, yeah, they're downstairs, go get them. The only thing on your mind would be like you'd be hoping to hell once they left, you'd be hoping to hell that you convinced them. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and exactly, and people's privacy is important. I mean, imagine like, I was some foreign nation and I came to the United States and I said, well, why don't you show me all the information that is in the computer files of NORAD and Pentagon and the NSA and Homeland Security and all of your intelligence community. Just open, what do you got to hide? Why are you hiding? You
Yeah,
know, what are you so paranoid about? I just want to know, what is your latest developments in this particular area? I mean, come
yeah,
on. I mean, people have the right to have, this is my space and this is my privacy, and people should respect that. It's not that people who are guarded are, they've got some dark secrets and so forth. No, this is the internet that we're dealing with, and especially through social media, people are really good at doing social engineering and phishing and putting pieces together, and they can create a lot of drama for you. And identity theft happens that way as well. That's
oh
one
yeah,
thing that because this touches on the issue of being an admin. Sometimes for us, we look for little things like if you just joined Facebook like a few days ago, and we click on there and there's like absolutely no pictures of yours, and you've got like about 5 or 6 friends, that might be like a red flag. Like, yeah, I don't
yeah.
know. That's
No friends and 5 followers. Yeah,
you know Fred Jenkins that we deleted a few weeks ago shows up as you know Javier Sanchez 1 week later with a new account. And
yeah. And his favorite team and his favorite sports teams are the Los Angeles Lakers and the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it's these are all little nothing that these are all little, you know, and their favorite singer is Jay-Z and Beyonce. I mean, it kind of goes, okay, yeah, exactly. Your favorite athlete is LeBron James. I mean, you look at little things like that, and it's not just one thing; it's a billion things, and yeah,
At the end of the day, because I had a really good discussion with Michelle Whaling. Is that how you pronounce it?
Walling, not just another brick.
Walling.
Walling, yes, Walling, yes, yeah,
Michelle Whaling, a very, very amazing woman who I think has in her heart the concern of humanity and Earth, and definitely resonates in love and light. And so she was asking me in the conversation, on basically like how do you trust and when and what do you trust in. I know this is a very challenging thing, but for me, and I'm not saying that people, again, there's nothing wrong with being guarded, and I think that is important for people to do that, not be naive. But at the same time, I told her I pretty much trust everybody and anyone until they give me a reason not to. So
right,
I kind of take that kind of approach in life to people and to situations, open arms. For some people, it might be like, well, you're just, walking into a minefield. But I do that because for me, this is just for me personally. It doesn't mean that's the golden rule for everyone, but I really trust that if my intentions are sincere, Prime Creator will indeed, open up the universe in such a way, it will unfold in such a way in which the outcome will be beneficial for me if I'm coming into a situation with good intentions. So I
yeah,
pretty much trust until that person or group or whatever it may be gives me a reason not to. Because otherwise, I just feel, where does it stop? Um,
right. Exactly, Jason, but at the same time, your innate knowingness, I mean, at the same time, you're not going to be like falling on the ground shocked to find out it was something different or a deception. You know what I mean? You have that all knowingness too, where you're like, okay, well, these are all innate possibilities, but until something comes up, I've got to just go with what Prime Creator's directive is and just to love and to show love. But at the same time, I mean, I'm not going to be completely blown away if shit goes south, you know?
Right, because that's where, going back to and trying to tie this in, where the people, the man and the woman who are out there saying, well, that guy sounds too good to be true, or that woman is too good to be true, because basically they're setting themselves up for every time, someone's going to hurt me, stab me in the back, manipulate me, take advantage of me, and so forth. And that's why, again, I think the beautiful thing about the now moment is really enjoying that beautiful dinner, that beautiful sunrise and sunset, that romantic walk in the park, that kiss, and enjoying that now, and just anticipating in a universe of infinite possibilities that could go south, or that relationship could terminate, or what have you. But you did enjoy. Can you deny that you enjoyed what you did enjoy?
Definitely not. No, definitely you can't deny it at all.
So you have your instinct and your intuitive awareness that does, I believe through, for example, the morphogenetic field, which I believe binds us and attracts us together. And the way I understand the morphogenetic field is like it is the internet of all existence. That there is, if you will, a fiber that connects all of reality, and information is able to travel through that. So that's where you get that you've been on a bus or you on a train and you feel someone is looking at you or staring at you, and you turn around and you see that that's the case. You feel that intuitively, or by different gestures that a person does, eye contact, lack of eye contact. There's a lot of things, and again, that will vary from culture to culture, because in um, like for example, for us as Westerners, if you don't give someone firm eye contact, uh, a lot of the times, then that's like the person is very shifty. But in Asian culture, prolonged eye contact and staring someone in the eyes for a prolonged period of time is considered really disrespectful and somewhat even threatening. So picking up on
Maybe
these
they're
cues,
just
social
shy.
cues.
Yeah, and not to interrupt you, but maybe that person's just shy or has some insecurities within themselves, God forbid.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, there are people who, when they hear about funerals and things like that, they'll actually burst into laughter, And some people will find, well, that's very, very odd, but it just can be their way of dealing with the situation. You know, it may create a sense of nervousness in them or invoke all kinds of emotions that we really don't have a way of penetrating deeper into that psyche and understanding that that's to that individual. So even though we may see that as inappropriate there, then maybe that's just something that is unique to them.
Undertones, 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 big time.
But on a different note, would you really give me up if I was down in the basement hiding out?
No, man, I wouldn't. I would go down
Okay.
with you like, yeah, I'd be down with you like Ice Cube was down with Easy, man.
Well, I guess it didn't turn out for them so well in the end, did it? Ice Cube and Easy ended up parting ways, I thought.
They did, but they had kind of a on Easy's deathbed, a kind of a they were talking about doing a reunion album, but you know, it just goes to show you the things that can divide us, you know, and yeah, exactly. Okay, well, let me use a better example. McCartney, Lennon. Oh, God, I can't use that as an example because that kind of went south. You know, it goes back to what you're saying. You got to think everything through the now moment, you know.
Yeah, and enjoy that now. I mean, there's really, you know, one thing there was this. I didn't know if you've seen this, and it's okay now to kind of like have a free discussion, but maybe like we come back to the point about the Facebook page and administration from time to time.
Hmm.
You've seen this one Star Trek movie, and it had a very interesting perspective. It was where they went to a planet in which the rings around the planet kept the people in a state of perpetual youth. And the Federation was very interested in this planet, and they were actually going to try to trick the people into thinking that they went somewhere else. They were going to relocate them, a population of about 300 and some people. And when Picard and them found out about that, they were really shocked because it went against the Prime Directive of interfering with different cultures and civilizations. But the interesting thing was somehow they had the ability to slow down a moment in time, and they could actually stretch that out and enjoy that moment of time for a prolonged period. So
Mm.
just seeing the butterfly, you know, slowly flap its wings over the flower, rather than that just come and go like that, they were able to just kind of slow that down and really be in such a now moment where they could just soak all of that in, and it just became a whole universe.
A
Something
utopia.
really just something as mundane as a rock or even a piece of gravel, you know, because I think we just, you know, it's really appreciating the smallest things and everything and in the now, all of it, the whole perspective through sight, sound, touch, smell, mind, heart, spirit, just taking it all in.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And, you know, it doesn't mean that you have any control over the next now moment, but you can soak that in and enjoy that moment. And I think that that's, you know, where humanity needs to head towards is kind of soaking in those things and just enjoying it, taking the time to just enjoy it. And the more we enjoy that, the more that we evolve as beings. And, you know, and so it goes.
Yeah, because like I was telling you earlier, you know, what's the rush? I mean, sometimes people get really sad and down and depressed, and you know, you just have to reassure them and be like, look, you know, this doesn't last forever. You know, you're gonna die one day. You know, so it's
Yeah.
one thing about life. You know, no one gets out alive. So
No, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that you're gonna die, but I'm just hinting that you might not be around forever in this realm. Yeah.
some people may not find that, you know, really reassuring, but it is a reality, and that's one
Yeah.
thing to think about is, yeah, you know, no matter what you achieve and what you obtain in this life, then which in reality, thinking about that for a second, obtainment and achievements, I think it's more important for us to actually achieve things than it is to obtain things, because I think that that achieving things has a collective energy behind it, which transfers on to a next generation, and I think that's more lasting than this idea of obtaining, which when you obtain something, it kind of comes and goes, like an object, might be
Yeah.
transferred over to this other person. But when you have some ideas and you achieve these ideas and these ideas become manifest, and it sort of keeps that energy going, and then the next generation continues to improve upon it, uh, that's really interesting.
You have to look at it from that kind of a scale because I don't think Prime Creator's looking for people to buy real estate up in Utopia or heaven or wherever the source is at. I don't think, well, if you accumulate this, you get this lot over here, you can get and the more you've accumulated, the closer you can get to his kingdom or his castle. I mean, it doesn't work like that. And I mean, it's funny. Some of the simplest sayings from that World War II generation was truly apropos. You can't take it with you. I mean, you can, but you can't. You can't take a physical item with you. Oh, here I'm lugging this. I'll be bogged down in space in my Merkaba, lugging this big satellite TV with me. Oh yeah, well here, I mean, you can't take it with you, man. As far as that goes, a material item.
The TV dinners have to stay back home.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you. I don't need any more Swanson's hungry, man. I think I've been poisoned by enough of that GMO. But then again, I'm not one. Yeah, if I really needed one with the munchies some night, I'm not one to complain. But on the other hand, I don't want to. I'm not going to bring a whole plethora of them to Prime Creator at the gate. Here.
Speaking of, I think that it would be really good if one of these evenings we did a talk or a discussion on Prime Creator itself, like what is Prime Creator, and the Pleiadian perspective on who and what is Prime Creator, and some of the thoughts on that. I mean, just food for thought. And I did ask on my Facebook page when I posted about the Pope saying that he would baptize aliens. Mary Ann Rada had commented on that, and she said, well, perhaps they could do an exchange program where the aliens would baptize him in return. And then I was laughing about that, and then I asked her. I said, why don't you come on the show one time with Larry? And so she was like, so maybe she's thinking about it. That would be good.
I hope so. I hope so. I'd like to get her on big time. I've been afraid to ask her because I have so much respect for her. It's kind of and I know she's totally humble, but I have so much respect for her. It's like, oh man, do I want to say, okay, hey Marianne, hey sis, would you lower yourself and come down onto our show? No, I totally agree with you, and yeah, that's a good question. That would be a good show. All these ideas are popping up. I had a great idea. Somebody posted me earlier that, hey, have you ever thought about doing a show on walk-ins? And yeah, these are all ideas that are great, and I think they're definitely valid to do. And just let us know. And I know that Jason and I are ready on a moment's, well, maybe not a complete now moment's notice, but the 3D depending. We can be ready to hammer out some of these issues. But yeah, it's exactly true because people are going to be like, Prime Creator, what's Prime Creator? Hey Jason, have you ever heard anybody say, as far as the term Prime Creator goes, because I prefer using that term too, and have you ever heard anybody go, oh, that sounds like some Satanistic mystic stuff? Oh,
they they said, okay, wait, they said it's satanic or it's mystic or it's a bit of both.
yeah, they said satan. I'm sorry, they said satanic. Oh, that sounds like some satanic stuff, yo. Okay, one time, somebody commented. This is before I was even on Facebook. I was listening to one of Barbara Marciniak's somebody commenting on a Barbara Marciniak's audio of Bringers of the Dawn, or maybe it was Earth the Living Library, and they said, this guy comes on and goes, yo, I don't know, yo, this sounds like some satanic stuff, yo. And I'm like, okay, well, he said Prime Creator, that sounds pretty satanistic, yo. I'm like, oh, yo, okay, well, okay, so that to me, I couldn't even have a comment to that. Wouldn't even know what to say. Yeah, well, it sounds, if you want to go there, hell, it could sound like a new Transformer for all I know.
You read my mind, because that's something that someone said to me before too. Prime Creator, Optimus Prime and so forth, and let's roll out.
But you've never had anybody say to you, "Oh, that sounds satanistic, ooh, and demonic."
I mean,
I mean,
it's I've had people like, well, prime creator, well, what are you saying by that? And how many gods are there? And I tried to tell them, I said, well, first look at the words, look at the word prime or primary or even prima facie from Latin, and then look at the word creator and what does that mean? It's not a denial because in that sense, like when Barbara Marcianic was saying the creator gods, in that sense they were these beings that were empowered with the ability to create something, just like your
yes,
parents are your creators in that sense, and then they in turn have creators. So there are many creators, but there's only one ultimate source, and prime creator is saying that that source, that is the all. Everything
perfect,
else is what you would call an ancillary of that. It's an offshoot of that, but that source right there. So you could see in
exactly.
that, right? So
Yeah. No, I think one thing that she taught me too, using that term prime creator, because you're right. I mean, God almost actually to me belittles prime creator because there are so many gods with a little g that came and that were trying to maybe even some of them help out, but people started worshiping them and because they had greater knowledge or greater power and they became these gods, and some of these gods even got egos about them because I mean, let's face it, I mean, in our 3D minds, I mean, how long could you possibly go without people throwing themselves at your feet and saying and trying to tell them, oh no, I'm not God, I'm not prime creator, and they keep trying to tell you, yes you are, yes you are, yes you are, you're my prime. I mean, eventually you're going to be like, eventually you're going to be like, okay, what the hell, yeah I am. I mean, so
well, for people out there who do come from Europe and in particular Latin cultures, they could either confirm or deny this, and the viewers could even look it up. Look up the word adore, look up the word adoration, look up the word adornment, and then look up the word worship. And there's a lot of similarities there. So when you get, just, I mean, look at some of the terms, right? American Idol,
no, yeah,
American Idol, right? And then
yeah.
you have you have all these terms, and there are people out there who worship pop icons and follow them like like they would a weekly sermon or something like, oh my God, Tom Cruise is his favorite. He really likes cucumber blizzards. That's amazing. I didn't know that. And
No,
it's like, well, you didn't know that, and so they follow all this minutia about the person, and there were actually people who were happy when Justin Bieber was spitting on people on his concert, and this one girl was just so excited about it, like, wow, he spit on me. I can't believe out of everyone in that audience there, he
I'll
chose
never wash
me.
my hair again. Yeah.
It's like that changed my life, and they're really, you can see it, like they're really enthusiastic about this. So yeah, that's, how would you define what is worship, what is adoration, where's that line, that distinction? And yeah, it's we're really not far away from it even in today's culture. I mean, in a sense too, when you just give blind fealty and allegiance and loyalty to anything, whether it be your nation state, your tribe, your religious tradition, your philosophical view, your worldview, uh, just blindly like that, that in itself can be a sense of worship.
It really is because you've given up it's not too far off from, well, if Bieber told you to jump off that balcony, well, you'd do it. It's not too far off from that. And it's like, okay, well, he may have a couple good songs. Not that I'm saying that because I'm kind of an old fogey. But, but you know what I mean? He may have a few good songs, but at the same time, I'm not into, I don't know him personally. I don't know anything about him personally. And so how could I know any fucking other thing else besides a song or two he did? You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, nah,
Well, this has been a really great show because I think we've almost got it all covered. We haven't touched on
yeah.
peanut butter and jelly sandwiches yet. Justin Bieber, check. Prime Creator, check. Barbara Marcianic, check. Being admins in the Pleiadian page, check. So yeah, we're getting there.
I think we are too. And as far as peanut butter and jelly goes, I prefer creamy peanut butter. Although, seems like a few people close to me prefer chunky, but most people I've ever talked to prefer creamy. I don't know. But but because I prefer creamy, you should. How could you? I sound like my dad. He'll cook something and he'll be like, okay, well, oh, isn't that the best thing you've ever had in your life? Isn't that just the greatest? And you could think it was pretty good, but man, he would be befuddled why you wouldn't think that was just the best thing you couldn't have ever eaten. Why you wouldn't think that?
Peanut butters, peanut butter on waffles or pancakes any day.
Oh
Awesome.
yeah, creamy for me. By the way, I had to get that in with my 3D ego.
I think too that once we, is this off the air, Larry? Is it off the air
No,
now?
no, we're
All
still
right.
on.
Well, all
We're
right.
still live with the
Okay.
plate.
I better. Okay. I won't talk about the compound yet. Then I better not talk about the mothership
No,
and the compound. I'll save
don't
that
do that.
for later. Because I just didn't want the people to know that once we established the compound, and for all those people who disagree with the mothership and what it's relating to us, then
Where
one
they're
of the
gonna go?
one of the punishments is going to be is going to involve peanut butter. We were talking about that time, and
Yes. And we can't say what exactly, but you can let your imagination run wild out there, peeps.
absolutely run wild. Sky is not the limit, people. Just
No, neither is the universe. We've got that peanut butter, and we even got chunky in mind too. That'll give them some food for thought.
mm, definitely, no pun
Mm,
intended. Some food for thought.
exactly. And yeah, I agree with you. And it's been a real pleasure talking to you about this, of course. And it was really interesting to hear Jane's take on it. And yeah, I think we pretty much touched on it all today, and I think Pleiadian Woodstock. I know we had talked a little bit about that earlier in the pre-show. You and I were talking about it, and that I would just encourage people to check out that page, and if they have any questions at this point, to let us know. And it's something that definitely that if we really want to happen, we can manifest this to happen. And yeah, exactly. Just I hope that I don't get a bunch of tomatoes pelted at me while I'm giving the well, we're you and I are up there giving the opening and closing ceremony speech because I love ketchup, but not quite that much. Yeah, that's an inside joke, everybody. You'll have to ask Jason or I about that privately. But yeah, very privately, and sign a waiver first before you get our opinion.
Yes, a
Um,
waiver.
a waiver, yes, sign a waiver. We have many the Pleiadians. We have many lawyers many lawyers and district attorneys both working on it, so we cover both ends. We can love you and prosecute you at the same time in the Galactic High Court. Yeah, so but we won't get into that. We won't get into our secret chambers where we take you to ask you real questions. Yeah. Anyway, man. Hey, do you have any loving words of wisdom you'd like to give to the crew before we do here?
You mean for the members or for the fellow admins?
For anybody, yeah, for anybody. You know, the admins, the people, the group. I know there's only one thing that you have to say to everybody, period, and that's for everybody. Yes, for everybody. Okay, go ahead.
Personally, I did want to say that, again, it's a pleasure and an honor to be alongside you, Larry, and alongside Jane. She's an absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, wonderful woman. Sierra is a very vibrant, beautiful woman. Kathleen, we would like to hear more from you as well. If you would do us the honors, we love you, and we're happy that we are doing this in conjunction with you. And once again, to the Honorable Leah Shapiro, excellent job with your music contract, and we're continuing to send blessings and love and light your way, that continues to be something that grows and prospers for you. And to all of the people out there on the Pleiadian page, infinite and unconditional love to you, infinite and unconditional forgiveness, infinite understanding, and infinite light. Namaste. May Prime Creator bless each and every one of you. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Jason, and I'm going to go ahead and edit this, and I will have this out here in just a minute, my man. And thank you so much, and Much love to everybody, and much love to whoever the forces were that were holding us back the other day that took us 3 hours to get online. I know you and I probably in private had some kind words for the cabal during that whole debacle, but in reality, it helped us to get Jane up out of bed and get us all on the crew and same page together. And much love to everybody, and much love, Leah. Thank you for the opportunity. And yeah, it's funny when you mentioned her name, when you mentioned Leah's name, the temperature just got about 10 degrees hotter in the room, but I won't go there. Um, so exactly. So much love, everybody, and thank you so much. And we look forward to hearing your output on that. So, all right, Jason. Hey, peace out, brother.
Peace out, bro.